Hey out there, this is Buzz with the Survival Buzz. So I recently did a premiere video where I had a new incubator and I threw a video together, put some music over it just to kind of share with you guys. It's kind of a cool experience, something I never really tried before. It turned out well. On the first run I only got 4 chickens out of the deal. I just finished up a new batch and actually got 12 out of this one, so big difference. With that, I wanted to make a brooding video to kind of show some of you guys that maybe are unfamiliar with brooding or don't even know what you're doing as far as raising baby chicks. It's really not that hard. I'll show you a few things that you need to buy in the beginning. It's going to cost you a little bit of money, but once you have some things bought, it's really not that expensive. And if you get an incubator, it's way cheaper as far as buying the chickens. But anyway, here goes. I'm going to show you guys some of the things you need to buy and some of the things to look for as far as what you're doing when you're brooding baby chicks. Alright, so first off, you're going to want some kind of container to keep the chicks in to brood them. I have this one here. It's pretty heavy duty tote type container. It's got wheels on it and it's got a nifty little handle here so you can actually move it around with the chicks in it and stuff. It makes it pretty handy. But I have learned from experience, if you're going to do more than maybe half a dozen chicks, you're going to want something bigger than this. Otherwise, you're going to be cleaning the thing out 3 or 4 times a day, and they're going to be running all over each other, and it's just a big mess. So more than half a dozen, you're going to want something bigger. But this works for just a few. Depending on how many I actually get out of my incubator, I'll probably have to go with something bigger. But for now, this will work for the 3 I've hatched. And then, of course, you're going to spend some money at first on some of these items like the brooder, the light, the watering bell, the feeder, all of that. But once you have all those things, you don't have to purchase them again, and I've had this stuff for years. So you don't want to have a water bell, a feeder. This heat lamp actually has a cage, that way if it falls, it's less of a fire hazard. And then, of course, the heat lamp bulbs for it. And the pine flake. You can get the fine, but with the chicks, they actually tend to want to eat it, so I get the flake. And then a good chick starter grower feed. I use the Nature Wise. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's actually really good stuff. And you want to get them started as soon as possible on chick grit. So, all in all, I don't know, you're going to spend well over $100 in the beginning for all this, but I already had all this stuff. Literally all I had to do was go out and buy the flakes, the feed, the grit, and some more bulbs because my last one burned out. So a little bit of money to start, but not too bad. Alright, so these guys here are now a month old, and I actually waited for them to dirty it up so I can show you what you have to deal with. This is only 4 chickens in this big tote here. And as you can see, this is just after like a few hours. You can see how their food is completely filled with shavings. There's food all over the container. The water is completely full of shavings. And this is something when you use a container this size, even with a few chickens, I mean the first week or 2 is pretty easy in a container this size with 4 or 6 chickens. After a couple weeks, these guys are now a month old. I kind of baby my chickens. They're pretty much ready to go outside, but we got a late streak of, there's like 3 days where it's teetering around 100 degrees outside here in Oklahoma, so I didn't want to acclimate them like that. I'm going to wait till it cools down just a bit. I mean, they don't have a light on them or anything else as far as a heat lamp or anything like that, so they're getting pretty acclimated, but this just goes to show you how dirty they can make it. So something this size would definitely not work for more than 4 to 6 chickens. You're cleaning this thing out several times a day just to make sure they have food and water. And another thing I wanted to bring up is this right here. This welded steel wire. You can use chicken wire, something. You want to have something over this because after a couple weeks, these guys can actually jump out of this box. And I didn't get my topper on there quick enough. And this little guy here, the yellow one, I know you probably can't see, but he has a broken leg. So I'm going to try to ride it out, get him fattened up, and probably just butcher him with the other old ones. But yeah, so that's what you deal with a container this size. So here is brooder setup number 2, which I like a lot better, a lot more room for the baby chicks. This run on my incubator I had a little bit better mix of roosters and hens, so I actually wound up with 12 of these little guys instead of 4 like the last time, so I definitely needed a bigger brooder. Got this kiddie pool at Walmart for $5, can't beat that as far as price. And then I have this little heater here I was going to show you guys, see if I can show you. They actually climb under that, and it keeps them warm when you're brooding them, and you can actually use it in the coop in the winter too. It's a lot safer as far as fire hazards of not having a lamp like this. The only reason I have the lamp going right now is because I actually have a pumpkin bin I'm going to put around this pool to help keep the heat in and help keep them in once they get a little bit bigger. But for now I got the light on them. I just set this all up last night. So really all there is to brooding is making sure they have plenty of warmth and plenty of water and feed. When they're little like this and you're brooding them in the house, they're going to want to have access to food and water 24/7. So your job is pretty much coming in behind them, cleaning up their mess just like a baby or a puppy, and just making sure they have plenty of water and plenty of feed and keeping them warm. If you're using a lamp, you can adjust for the heat. This little heater thing, it only has a few adjustments on the legs. But as far as the lamps, you can hang it like this or use a clip and kind of just, you're going to have to get creative and adjust it as it goes, because in the beginning they're going to want to stay around 100 degrees or so, and then you slowly just acclimate them and wean them away from the heat till they don't have a lamp at all like the other guys over there. And after about a week or so, I'll go outside, dig up a handful of dirt and throw in here, and they can peck at it, and it kind of acclimates them to all the germs and things that are going to be out in the yard they're living in. But other than that, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave so in the comment section. I will try and answer them to the best of my ability. As always, thanks for watching. Later.